Let's bring in the great catcher, the Hall of Famer, Johnny Bench, Cincinnati Reds. Johnny, how are you today?
I'm fantastic, and I want an answer on what did you guys get for Valentine's?
I didn't get anything.
No, what did you get?
I didn't get anything. But I didn't need anything.
Is it typical, or is it just it says Women's Valentine's Day?
I think it's more the Woman's Day. Like, I don't expect anything. You know, my gift is just giving back to everybody today. I mean, that's showing my love for everybody.
You didn't take a stance.
No.
You didn't take a stance for us. I mean, for goodness sake. I mean, if I got a gift card for Home Depot or for Dick's Sporting Goods or somebody, that would have been great. I would have been fine. I could have done that. I mean, it was just something, a remembrance of what I've done in the past year.
Oh, you poor guy. You need to take a stance in your own house. I can't help you out.
Come on. My boys gave me a Valentine. Well, they haven't yet, but I'm sure
they're going to. They're going to. You poor guy. All right. What do you make?
How are you, my man?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing a lot better here. About six months removed from treatment, and seeing these smiley faces every single day, the Danettes. I mean, how could I ever be in a? Wait, I was being serious, Johnny.
Valentine's right there in itself. Yeah, you're right. That's a Valentine's in itself.
What did you think of yesterday with the Astros?
I felt bad for Jim Crane. I guess because I know him and he's a nice guy, and I doubt that he knew anything about it. I really do. I think, with Lunau and AJ, and they just, they've cost him $5 million and 2 draft choices and stuff, and he's a quality individual, and I just, he'll never recoup that from those guys. But I feel like that, and the guys are, they were in a pennant race. They'll do anything they can. They want all this stuff, and yet, their denials are. It's never going to satisfy. You're never going to satisfy media or people who are naysayers, or the Dodgers who suffered through the Astros and then the Red Sox. And I feel bad for them because it doesn't make a chance. And who was receiving those signals in the dugout? Who was the guys that were whistling? I mean, let's identify them. They're the ones that basically were duplicitous in all this, and they're the ones that were responsible for getting the signs, whistling. I mean, if I knew what was coming, I'd hit 700. I'll just tell you right now. There used to be a pitcher named Bill Singer that pitched for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Add a little slippery stuff every now and then. He'd put on that little Vaseline or grease or whatever he had, and he denied it all the time. But in the All-Star game in Kansas City, for some reason his jacket was lying there on the bench, and I'm having fun putting a Dodger jacket on, and I reached in the pocket, and there was the Vaseline. Okay, but.
All right,
in fact, why I say that story was when I couldn't hit him. I mean, I couldn't hit him with the boat oar. He'd run that sinker in on you, that slider away. And then one day somebody from the dugout said, look. I said, what? He said, well, when he throws the curveball, he takes it and he stretch. He takes his hands way up high by his chin. When he throws the slider, he takes it by his chest. And when he throws the fastball, he does it at his waist. He just takes it, puts the ball in the glove, and goes to the waist. And I'm praying somebody gets on. Well, I had 3 chances with guys on. I had 2 home runs and a double. And then some ridiculous fellow told him what he was doing, tipping his pitches, and I never got another hit off him.
Yeah, but you had the owner of the Astros saying that this didn't impact us winning the World Series. How's that possible, Johnny? Then why do you fire your GM and your manager, and why are you being punished by baseball if this didn't help you?
Well, he already knew that. I mean, he can't really believe that his players aren't good enough to win the World Series. So he's standing behind his players in that fashion, just saying, hey, we would have won anyway. And that's what every owner should believe. And he's going to say that because, the easiest thing in the world is the best thing in the world is try to get this as far behind you as you can. And I think they chose the right guy and Dusty Baker to offset some of the media and also the critics and the stuff and try to temper that. And, a new guy would have a lot of problems with it. And Dusty will just slough it off and say, hey, we're here to play baseball. And you guys, let's just go at this. And put it behind us. Let's play. But the fans are never going to put it behind them. They're going to do everything they can, but from the stands, and if they'll let them bring garbage cans in. That was interesting because I've never heard the garbage can. Now I've heard the whistles because you guys have brought it up, and good, and it was really clear. But somebody was getting the signs, and somebody was distributing them to the hitter, and somebody was whistling. I mean, Peanuts Lowry was the first base coach for the San Francisco Giants, and certain catchers would have their legs open enough that he could actually steal the signs. And every time he would get the signs, he would give Willie a signal that he had the signs, and if he'd been over, it was a fastball. So every time Peanuts got the sign and got it to Willie, and Willie hit a home run, he got a new suit. And I think Peanuts had 27 suits that year.
Did somebody steal your signs?
I'm sure they did, and we were always aware that somebody at second base was the lean or the stand up or some kind of motion that would, indicate to them that it was that they had them. And
but that's okay, though, right? That's baseball.
Well, it is, and you just go out and you tell the pitcher beforehand, look, I'm going to give you the curveball sign. Don't pay any attention to it. Just throw the fastball right in his ear. And once now the batter's up there and he's looking for the curveball, and he gets the fastball up and in under his chin, he say, "Oh, I'm not going to trust these guys again." Now I don't know what's coming. I remember when Gene Mauch, Pete, they couldn't get Pete out. It didn't matter. He just got hits. So at the start of a game, Clay Dalrymple was the catcher, and he said, "Gene said to tell you what's coming." What? So he said, "All right, here's a fastball right down the middle." Pete takes it. All right, now you got a curveball. He takes the curveball. He steps out of the box and tells the umpire, "Would you tell him to shut up?" He didn't want to know the signs. I could steal signs from this by watching. I mean, steal it meaning that I would watch the pitcher, and he would always give a little something with his glove. He would flare the glove open on his curveball. He would squeeze it tight. If he brought it from around his side, he'd come up with the seams for the slider. He'd go cross seams with the fastball. And it was still hard to do, but it's still hard to hit. But, there were guys that had telltale little things that would give them away, and you tried to get an edge as much as you could. And I hate to see what's happened with this, but, there was the Red Sox and, what other teams. There's other teams out there, I'm sure, that have done it. I mean, they did it in Wrigley Field in the scoreboard. They did it in Boston in the scoreboard. So they were stealing signs. It's just that everybody could whistle right.
Johnny Bench, the Hall of Famer, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. I mentioned this yesterday. The best infield, including the catcher of all time, is the Big Red Machine, with you, Perez, Morgan, Concepcion, and Rose. I'm thinking, who is the second best infield in baseball history, in your opinion, modern day?
The Dodgers weren't far behind. They had Garvey, Lopes, Russell, and Say.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to beat, and the Phillies were pretty darn good with Smitty at third. Boa was at short. Dave Cash, who I think was out there at times, and yeah, I mean, I would have to go back, and you would have to help me on that, your opinions, but we were pretty good. Yeah, we were really good.
Yeah, don't be humble, because we know Rose is a Hall of Fame caliber player. Concepcion, to me, was a Hall of Fame shortstop. You had Morgan and Perez, and then you, which are obviously no doubt Hall of Famers. I also brought this up too. I said you might even agree with me, if the game is on the line, of all of those players on the Cincinnati Reds, the one guy you would want at the plate with the game on the line was Tony Perez.
Yeah, I mean, I want me first.
Okay, but I'm taking you out of this. But Perez was a great clutch hitter.
Yeah, and Joe may have been the best player I've ever seen, ever, period.
Better than anybody, Mays, Mantle, I mean, that whole group. Joe Morgan was the best player you ever saw?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he could get a hit, he could take a walk, he could steal a base, he could hit a home run, and he'd go on the Gold Glove.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were the best. We were among the top 2. Let me just say that.
What, Infield?
Yeah. I'd vote for us, but
I got a Hall of Famer at every position, basically.
I know. It's pretty amazing, isn't it, to put together a team that and how much would you have to pay today?
You couldn't keep you guys together in Cincinnati.
No. It was, a couple of us, and, we'd all be over the wells in the 20s.
What was the
what
most?
What would I do with $400 million today, Dan? What would I do? I still talk to you, but it wouldn't be as often.
What was the most you ever made?
900.
900,000.
I made 2.2 in my entire career.
Wow.
I made 11,000 my first year, which was 1,000 above the minimum. I won the Rookie of the Year. I made 20. I won MVP. Made 40. I won MVP again. I made 80. And then I had the lung surgery, which kind of slowed everything down.
So Garrett Cole will make the amount of money you made in your career in the month of April.
No, in the first 2 weeks of April. I mean, it's $4 million a month. I mean, easy, and makes more than that. So he's making more than that, and
wow.
He's got a 10 or 11-day grace period. So, and
hey, it's great to hear from you.
You talked about the steroids.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It just you guys are worth $100 million now. For you think it's how important their Hall of Fame would be, but they're living the life. And
I don't think Bonds or Clemens has any remorse if they don't make it in the Hall of Fame. The amount of money they made in the second half of their career, the twilight of their career, is I'm sure they look at it and say it's well
there's
worth
guys
it.
in the last few years that have been tied to steroids, and they're in, and I think they're just making a sort of a thing about Clemens and Bonds. So I think they're trying to make examples.
You think that those guys are going to get in?
Yeah, I do.
How do you feel?
I'm in between. I mean, when I remember when Frank Robinson, I think the first meeting they ever had, and they said, "This isn't for the very good. This is for the great."
Oh, the Hall of Fame.
So, yeah. So, I like the guys personally. It's hard to deal with. It's hard for us to live with. But I think with the last few years and everything else, with people with shadows over their careers and stuff, I think it'll be interesting. So I'll go with the sports writers if they decide to do it, which they haven't. But I'll be at the Hall of Fame and wait for your induction.
Great to hear from you, Johnny. Thank you very much, and good luck today.
Best of health.
Yeah, thank you, bud. That's Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.